Ray, Conversations of Race in America on WSGW. Now, here is your host, Kareem Bowen.
Good afternoon. This is Kareem, and welcome to another edition of United Shades of Gray, Conversations of Race in America. I am in the studio, as you see, if you're watching via our social media platform, with my co-host, Mark Bassett. Mark, what's good with you, my man?
Hey now. Just enjoying the last vestiges of summer.
And we also have in the studio with us, he does not want to appear on mic, but we're going to have to make that change.
I understand that.
Take place. Why is that?
I was just joking.
With a mug like that, I wouldn't want to be on there either. No, but we're going to give a shout out to my producer, John. John be in the place to be. What's good, John?
Hello, hello.
All right. So, Mark, you were starting out.
Yeah, it was, as you remember last week, I was mentioning we were having the funeral for my granddaughter this week.
Right.
Anyway, the family came together. One of the first questions out of my oldest daughter's mouth, Kristen, was like, "Hey, whatever happened with Jonathan's shopping trip? Did you guys ever?" So I thought maybe we could kick off the show with kind of a recap.
Jonathan, the world is invested in your
I
life.
think we should get Jonathan's perspective. I always have a good time taking people shopping. I like to shop. I like clothes, but
for those of you who don't know, Mark is like shopping is his thing. He's a clothing connoisseur.
Yeah.
He I don't know if you know materials and fabrics and brands. When you see Mark and the quality of his fabrics, you know that they cost a pretty dime. He spends a few dollars on his clothes, and when he dresses up, it's funny because I tell people he looks like a Black Baptist pastor. But no, that just means you like a little color.
I do.
Color.
Colors, patterns,
and patterns. Absolutely. Yeah. So, Jonathan, what's going on, man?
It went really well. I don't know anything about materials or colors or patterns or anything like that, so I was happy to have Mark's expertise when it came to looking at stuff.
I think we got, as usual, I'm always drawn off. I had to be in Detroit with some kids. I had a bunch of kids running around, but in the middle of this, I'm getting these pictures. Mark is not only being the resident stylist, but also the resident photojournalist, and he's taking images, sending those to me. Mark, why don't you just run us through kind of like what's going on?
Well, we got Jonathan a really nice kind of, what color would you call it? Royal blue, not
dark
royal
navy.
Blue, dark navy.
Yeah,
kind of like a midnight blue suit. He wanted a versatile suit. Originally, as the audience will recall, Jonathan wanted to wear black, which typically I only see in funerals, not weddings. Unless that was a subconscious kind of statement about the wedding. I don't know. But
Mark, ouch.
Anyway,
I said I don't know anything about colors.
Yeah. Anyway, we got him. We actually had picked out one suit already, and he was getting changed back into his normal clothes, and I kept walking around, which is what I like to do. And I found one that I actually liked better, and it turned out Jonathan liked it better as well. So we ended up getting that one.
Well, you guys are jumping right to the meat and potatoes. Let's talk about this for a second, because Jonathan was like, I think, Mark, you said something about Edwards.
No, well, I was, because someone said locally, well, maybe Edwards.
Maybe locally.
And I just said, my guess is you're going to
older
get
clientele,
older business clientele.
Jonathan is young and spry. For those of you who know, I know that he has a lot of responsibility.
Got old soul.
He's got an old soul.
You do have an old soul, Jonathan.
We don't want him to look like a middle-aged businessman. So
we don't want you to look like your soul, Jonathan.
Yeah, exactly.
But Jonathan has an old soul, but he is definitely a young guy. And
ultimately, I said I decided not to even bother looking there.
Yeah.
And I just said, let's go down to
no shade to Edwards. Shout out, Saginaw local. We shop local.
I'm sure it's a great shop for middle-aged businessmen. So anyway, I decided let's go down to Somerset because it would have the widest variety of options to get suits from. And I knew at worst case, we could find something at Nordstrom's.
And so where did we go first?
We went to J. Crew first because I like J. Crew. They have a thin cut suit called
Jonathan's a skinny boy. He's tall and skinty.
And they have a cut called Ludlow, which is a thin cut suit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they didn't have a great color. Yeah, and so,
even online, like they pulled up the online stuff, and we're looking through that.
Yeah, because we found a good size, like which I was surprised, off the rack that fit Jonathan.
Jonathan is actually he is if you talk standard model size. He's about 6'2"?
No,
6'5".
6'5". You're 6'2"?
I'm 6'2". Yeah.
Dang. So he's 6'5" and all of probably like a size 32 waist.
No, I was surprised his waist was bigger. I won't say what it is, Jonathan.
It's a
but it was big.
34.
Yeah.
I mean 36. I mean, I thought he was like 32. So 32,
I did
34.
too, actually. Yeah.
But I mean, he's very tall and thin.
Yeah.
And so he is kind of like hanger size. And so Mark thought, oh, we'll just go in here and you went in and
what I
found a
like
couple
about
things.
J. Crew, like most suit stores, when
Yeah.
you buy a suit, you have to buy the pants that comes with the jacket.
Yes.
And there's a standard drop size in the waist.
Unless you get assorted separates.
Yeah, which is what J. Crew had. That's why I
Right.
went there first. Anyway, we didn't find it. We then went over to Banana Republic, which has the same optionality, and that's where we found his suit.
I have never in my life I've been in Banana Republic, but I just to look.
Yeah, but Banana Republic used to be really good.
Yeah.
Then it got really bad. And I'd say it's actually gotten quite good again.
So I was gonna say, were you taking him there because it got really bad? You went
no. I would.
He's
like-
trying to assassinate your wedding attempt.
No. 5 years ago, I wouldn't have even bothered.
No, I got you.
And so they've reestablished. They must have brought in a new designer and a new team.
So where did we find the final hurrah, the decision?
So yeah, I mean, at Banana Republic, we found
Okay.
this. The second suit we found was better than the first suit, so we
Okay.
bought that. It was cool fabric as well. I think Jonathan really liked the way it fit.
Yep.
It's also a little bit more casual.
Yes.
It's unlined, so he can wear it as a sport coat as well, which he didn't realize. So I gave him that tip.
Can you define a sport coat for me?
It's
Because
typically more casual, a more
okay,
casual look than a suit, which is, I mean, there's definite definitions. I don't know the strict definition.
Is there a strict definition?
Yeah, there is.
There is.
Yeah. Just like what's a tuxedo? A tuxedo is
Well, I
a
mean,
suit,
yeah.
but made of certain fabrics and stuff.
Yeah.
But certain suits are more casual, and you can wear the top more readily as a sport coat than others.
Most of you men that watch this will never know the
Yeah.
difference. I'll tell you, I knew that there was a difference between a tuxedo. I knew that there was a difference between a sport jacket and a suit, you know, if you're having a blazer, but
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what those differences are.
Yeah.
I just said like, oh, that's
by look. usually,
Yeah. You look at it.
And then we found all the other accessories. You got new socks, belt, tie, shirt, pocket square, all at Nordstrom's.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Colors.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
navy suit, white shirt, just standard with that. Although
I
it is
actually tried to
textured
press
nicely.
him a little bit. Do you want to get a pink? Do you want to get like a pink check? Yeah. No.
Well,
Just
He's in
white.
a wedding. He's
Yeah.
not going into. I mean,
All
there's-
right. Yeah.
there was a don't abort the purpose, Mark.
And then purple tie and
kind of purplish lilac, kind of
Yeah.
because the bridesmaids or the
yeah, bridesmaids are in like a wisteria
Okay.
color.
I have
So
no idea what that is,
Yep.
but I'm
It's a
assuming
purple.
it's a purple.
Yeah.
Okay.
yep. And then pocket square with a large variety of purple or pink so that I can show it to my fiance and go, which one do you want? And she can choose.
Yeah.
Good.
And he got a really nice pair of brown Kolhan shoes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matching belt.
So how are you feeling, Mark?
I think he looks great, but it doesn't really matter what I think. What matters is what his fiance thinks.
I did put it on and
Tell
I
us.
showed it to her and she loved it.
Okay.
Good.
Score.
Yeah.
So those of you who are listening and have been absorbed in and waiting for the outcome of that, I just want to say Jonathan is ready. Jonathan, are
We
you
plan
ready?
on being. Are you going to be at the wedding?
Yes,
I'm planning
I
on being
got
at
the
the wedding.
invitation. I was like, I didn't think we could come. I
Yeah,
thought you were
yeah,
all set, and
yeah.
then I get this beautiful gift. It's just called an
Squeeze people
invitation.
in.
Yeah, we plan on being there.
Yeah. So tell us, Jonathan, how are you in terms of you being ready for this big moment?
I'm ready. I'm good. I don't know. The thing is, I've been more involved in the planning process than I think
Most men are.
most men are expected
Are
to
you
be.
surprised by that?
A little bit.
I'm not
honestly.
at all.
Okay,
I'm not at
right,
all.
All right.
I'm too much of a control freak.
That's
Okay, yeah,
that.
I at least need to know everything
No,
that's
okay.
happening.
Well, that's okay to be apprised of the
Yeah.
situation. Yeah.
Um,
Pushing your opinion too hard is a different
oh
story.
yeah,
so,
no. But it's not that we have everything figured out. It's that everything is kind of falling into place at a rate that it's like, okay, this will be all together by the time the wedding comes around. And unless that one big thing that everybody is blindsided by comes up, which I don't know what that would be because I'm going to be blindsided by it. But
She's married already.
Jonathan's left standing at the altar. Wah, wah.
To be continued.
Yeah.
No, but you're all set. So, Jonathan, we're glad to hear that that's working. Things are going well. We certainly wish you
Yep.
well. It's exciting to kind of be a part of this process.
I had a
with
great
you.
time. I really
And
enjoyed
Mark,
it,
I
and
think you would have
I
a
loved
great time
talking to Jonathan on the
anytime.
way up and back, getting to know him better. And
What did you learn about Jonathan that you did not know before? Because I think that car rides and being enclosed in cars, especially when phones are ringing all the time,
he really has a passion for this. I always kind of knew he did, but he really has a passion for this industry.
Yes.
And again, I've always said this, and I'm not just saying this because Jonathan's here. I have a ton of respect for Jonathan. He's super smart. I think the thing I learned today, which surprises me, is both of his parents are highly educated, and neither of the children have gone to college and gotten a college degree. And if his sister's half as smart as Jonathan, that's just a surprise to me. It's not a criticism. It's not a judgment. It's just a surprise. But I've always had a ton of respect for Jonathan, really smart guy, very mature, I think, for his age, very thoughtful. And so that the trip just reinforced that. But his love for this industry and his plan for his future was just getting to know it better. So
That's
because
awesome.
I've often thought, like Jonathan, I don't know what this industry pays and what you can make, but there's other areas where you could potentially make more money. But I'm a big believer in following your passion. Like if something's your passion, that's what you should do, because no matter how much money you're making, if you're miserable walking in the door every day, it's not worth it. And I can tell you that for a fact.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I had a teacher once who I went back to help him with something after really getting into this business. And I was talking to him kind of about that, what, and he said, man, it's great to see people get into like what they were supposed to do. I don't think I was supposed to be a teacher. I was supposed to do something where I could swear more.
But Jonathan, I think it's great, and Mark, in like fashion, I would agree that Jonathan is very passionate about this. The thing that I would hope, and we've had some conversations about ideas. Mark, oftentimes when you are the boss of certain things or you're responsible for certain things, and I can point at myself as well. We come in with this idea of what we want to see and how it's going to happen, because we've studied and we've gotten the plan together and we just kind of know what's going to work. And oftentimes we lose sight of the fact that those who are with us and the things that are closest that we can feel and touch are sometimes the biggest assets that we have available to us. And we stand to learn a lot when we can be learners in something that we're responsible for. And so my hope for Jonathan is, as he continues to do this, and he operates in different spaces, both here and wherever his gift leads him, is that he finds those individuals who are curious, who remain curious about the process and are willing to be listeners and to still learn in the places that they lead. Because I think that you have a lot of thoughts and ideas on how things can happen. And I think this station and wherever you may end up, if not here, will be better because of the thoughts and the ideas you come up with. And I think it's important, just opening doors for young, fresh, innovative ideas, and giving people opportunities to do great things, I think is essential for greatness. And that is my hope and prayer for you. And if you do that, you'll be both successful and doing what you love.
Yep.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So we have been, we're in here. And Mark, you were talking about enjoying the last of this summer, and that should be a whole show in and of itself, because I don't know about you, but it seems like I blinked and the summer was over.
Well, we've had this discussion before. I am 100% convinced that the older you get, the faster time goes. And so time just speeds up as you get older and older and older. And I've blinked and this whole year is over.
I came up with a new theory.
Yeah.
So on Sunday, Monday, and like half of Saturday. So Saturday, shout out to my niece. She got married to her fiance. I did the wedding. It was absolutely gorgeous at the H Hotel.
Oh, wow.
I started getting sick Saturday after evening, and Sunday full blown sick. 101.6 fever.
Wow.
Like really, really bad. And so the entire day on Sunday, all day Monday.
So you didn't do your church service?
No.
Who stood in for you?
Frank did.
Frank
actually.
did.
Yeah. Did an
Frank, I
amazing
said,
job.
I haven't heard from Frank in a long time.
He's up north doing white people things
Okay,
right
I know.
now.
Oh, okay.
I thought he's turning his kids into Tarzan and Jane. Like they're up and doing rock climbing
Okay.
and all the stuff that black people typically do not do. Frank is raising his kids with those opportunities. But it was interesting because all day Saturday evening, all day Sunday, all day Monday, I did not leave the house. When I tell you those days seemed like the longest days on planet Earth, it started making me think it's not just the time is speeding faster. I think that when we get older, that we take on responsibilities and we become more responsible with everything that happens, and that level of responsibility, it takes up and it eats away at our day so fast, taking care of the things that we're now responsible for. And because I promise you, those couple of days being down really seemed like an eternity.
Interesting. I mean, I like that theory. I think there's some validity to that. But like, I'm retired now, so I don't have a ton of responsibility, other than I've still got 7 kids that I worry.
Mark, what are you doing with your life in retirement?
Well, I travel a lot, but like if I'm in Midland.
Why did I even ask this question?
If I'm in Midland, like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, I try to go to morning mass at 8.
Every day?
Tuesday here at our parish, it's only 3 days a week.
Okay.
So I'll go to those 3 days. When I was down in Florida, I was trying to go every day. So go to mass in the morning at 8 o'clock. Then I tend to work out after that, which takes up 2.5 hours by the time I get done with everything. Then I have lunch. Then I relax. In the summer, I might take a nap. I for sure will probably go to the pool. I've gotten kind of dark, not nearly as dark as you, obviously.
Not a chance.
Yeah.
My melanin be melanin in the summer.
Again, I'm on the board of a company on the New York Stock Exchange, as you know, a small company. And then I'm on the executive committee of the local Catholic school. And so other than that, I don't know, I just putz around, enjoy life. But time still goes by quickly for me, even though I don't have the kind of responsibility I used to when I was working.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're going to have, you said something that really caught my attention. We're going to have a conversation because I think people would be interested on is there a great value or importance when we talk about public schools or the private school, having those religious-based schools that are yet in existence in some spaces, and what do they look like, and are they really, what is the value or the benefit, or is there one? I think that's going to be a really good conversation. But when we were leaving, there's a lot of stuff that was going on. Something happened over the course of this past couple of weeks. I don't know if you know who Stephen A. Smith is. Of course, you do.
I know who
Okay.
Stephen Smith
What
is.
about you, Jonathan?
I recognize the name, but
he's an opinion guy. He basically does op-ed on
ESPN.
Yeah.
First
Oh,
take.
yeah.
He used to, he does all of the sports stuff.
I know,
but he's gotten involved in politics a bit.
A little bit for sure, right?
Yeah.
But on this past weekend, I think it was this past weekend, the National Association of Black Journalists, I think it's NAJB, I think that's what it is. They awarded him a thumbs down award. They gave him a thumbs
really?
down. Yeah.
Interesting.
And which is basically it. And so you get a thumbs up.
Was he there to receive
no,
it?
he didn't receive it, but it's they talk about these things, and so they in theory award these to folks that are either thumbs up, thumbs down. He got the thumbs down award, and the reason that they did it was because they felt as though he was very demeaning and just did not represent or speak well of or portray Black women in a positive light. And so,
really?
Yeah. So this is the National Association for Black Journalists.
Yeah.
National Association. Yeah. So NABJ, which at one point I was a part of, right? Okay. And so it's interesting. I didn't know how he was going to take it because he's a person who is very vocal,
very opinionated,
not
afraid of a confrontation.
And so I want to get your thoughts, because I'm going to tell you what happened. And when we come back from this commercial, because I think it aligns somewhat when we talk about perspectives and thoughts and how we view things, it is a very unique position, but I think it kind of bears into the conversation that we're going to have. So I'm going to throw it out there, and then I want us to think about this when we come back from this break, and I want us to talk about it. But so anyways, he was awarded this. And if anyone has been paying attention, he's had some contentious words to say about some of the Black women in politics. Jasmine Crockett being one of the central ones, saying some things about how she's been a problem and her just kind of being bold and saying things she shouldn't say, that kind of thing. Well, they awarded him this award, and then immediately after being given this award, we see him, kind of doing cycle, and everyone, you respond. People want to know, what is your response? You are a Black journalist. The association that kind of represents Black journalism gave you a thumbs down. How do you feel? What's the thing? So he's on, what's the guy's name? He's on Fox.
Sean Hannity.
He's on Hannity. He goes on Hannity, and then the other one, Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo is kind of, he was on CNN and got fired, and now he's doing his own thing.
He's got a podcast.
Yeah, he's got a podcast that I'm sure he's doing pretty good with that. But anyways, he's on these two shows. What do you guys notice about both of those shows? When I say that, just offhand.
Well, it's white guys.
Okay,
Number one.
both of them are white guys.
Yeah.
So he's on the
But
shows.
most of the guys are doing podcasts and on cable news are white guys.
Yeah,
most
but
of them.
the point is,
he
has this unapproval thing by Black journalists, and he shows up on white media.
Yep.
And he's having this conversation with Sean Hannity, who has said probably worse things about Jasmine Crockett.
Yep.
And then also Chris Cuomo, who's middle of the road. He says what he says.
I would say he's a left-leaning guy.
Yeah, more left-leaning.
Yeah.
But he's on these podcasts, and they're affirming him, going, I don't know why they did this to you.
Well,
I don't understand this. I don't think that's appropriate. You of all people. And so he said, they're completely wrong. They're completely wrong. And you see these two white guys saying, we don't know why the National Association of Black Journalists would do this to you of all people. They should be proud of you.
Yeah.
They should be. And he's having this moment where what it feels like to me and what it looks like to me is that he's
going to get support and approval.
He's going to go to these places where he gets support and approval. But the problem is he's doing this
bias
in white's. Commercial break, and we'll be right back with more United Shades of Gray.
You're listening to United Shades of Gray on WSGW.
This is Kareem. We're back with more United Shades of Gray, conversations of race in America. And before the break and on last week's show, we were talking really about these issues of race and how narratives are important and what happens and how we view things. And I think we had some really good conversation on last week. So I wanted to bring in this conversation or this thought about Stephen A. Smith, who is an African-American journalist. As I said before the break, he's given the Thumb Down Award because they think that he diminishes the reputation and the standing of Black women in journalism and in other spaces. Then going to Sean Hannity on Fox News, and then also with Cuomo over on his show. And there has been a serious backlash. What do you think?
I'm not surprised there's a backlash.
What do you think the backlash is, Mark?
I mean, it would just be a natural reaction of, I'm assuming you mean a backlash from the Black community.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of like, okay, you're got to be careful of the terms. And you're basically going to people that are going to support you to reaffirm and what you're doing versus kind of having an active debate with someone who disagrees with you.
Yes.
It's a little bit like confirmation bias. Like my parents think everything Fox News has got to be true because they say what they believe versus everything that CNN says is a lie because they don't say what they believe. And so it's a little bit like that.
So confirmation bias in essence is how you view things shapes what's right or wrong. Right. And then you lean into things that confirm how you feel.
Right.
Jonathan, do you think there's a problem that
by the way, I don't know what he said or what his complaint is.
I mean,
I don't think.
Yeah, he just thought that they were.
Well, ultimately, though, but you having a criticism of some individuals and how they conduct themselves, or portray themselves, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So
okay, and that's exactly what these.
Just like I'm a white male,
exactly.
And
that's exactly.
Doesn't agree with anything Donald Trump. Well, I shouldn't say anything. Doesn't agree with 90+% of what Donald Trump says or does.
Yeah.
and that doesn't, that there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't see why the reverse shouldn't be
Okay, I'll give you that, Jonathan. What do you think? Jonathan's like, oh.
I think he went to a place that was a safe platform for him, where he knew he could just say whatever he felt like he wanted to say and get it out there as a response without any confrontation. I don't quite think he was just looking for yes men, but it was a safe place where he knew, okay, I'm going to be able to just say what I want to say and get it out there. And if that is the opening part of a plan to, now I'm going to address this with the people who issued it, great. If that's the entire plan of just, I'm going to give my response, write a press release.
Yeah, I would think that's a really bad plan if that's the plan. So.
Well, my thought was, and I was
really not going to change anybody's perspective.
I was interested in if you all saw that any differently. And Mark, you said I don't see what the problem is, and I think that's how most white America would feel. Yeah. But I think that if we would take into consideration, and as we talk about narratives and how things look, first of all, he's been speaking very Trump-esque in some of the things that he believes and things that he said. And the issue, I believe, is there a need for validation, white validation? If you could understand where these Black journalists come from, we are giving you a critique as those individuals. You are a part of our organization. I think for 2 years straight, he did live shows. I think he took First Take there live or something and did live broadcasts. We are giving you an honest critique. This is the Village talking to you, giving you an honest critique of what we think and how you're positioning your show and some of the narratives that you're portraying. And instead of having that conversation, instead of saying, okay, I want to do this with Oprah,
right,
or I'm going to go, let's have a conversation with Don Lemon, or, I'm
going to hop in here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me finish this.
Yeah,
and then I want to, instead of having that conversation with the population that made the critique or people that are from that population, he goes, and for Black America, I think that the idea is, do you need validation from white media partners, even though you are a part of the Black journalistic family? But go ahead.
This is the difference between what we were talking about last week, though, is color blindness. I don't see color, or I only see color.
Absolutely.
So he's being judged because he went on with white people. If Sean Hannity were Black, would it be a problem?
Well, it would be hard for Sean Hannity to have some of the positions that he has if he was Black.
Okay, but you know what I'm saying. It's if somebody had the same opinions and he went on to talk with them, would it be as much of a problem? Obviously, this was something that Smith thought was an issue. It's something that he took somewhat personally. If he's going to defend himself,
it's obvious.
Yeah,
that part's obvious.
To me, though,
and I'll say this because
hold on.
Go ahead.
The response, though, is, well, you didn't talk to a Black person about it.
No, that's not the response.
That's what you just said.
No, I'm saying that would be the appearance. I'm framing this. This is not what they were saying, but I'm thinking from the Black community. I think one of the issues is not that you didn't speak to a Black person, but the fact that you went to the audiences that you did to have the conversations that you were having. And when I say that, there is a thing, and it's a real thing. And as we're talking about these ideas of race in America, there is a real thing where many Blacks have assimilated to a great degree in terms of how they view and what they think is what affirms them, I'll say.
Right.
And so I think that is the question. It's not a question, but that is the thought that I am invoking here.
Yeah.
And I think that many other of those Black journalists are saying, like, we give you a critique of how we feel you are treating our sisters. Let me say it that way.
Right.
And instead of you having this conversation with the people who are giving you the critique about the people,
right,
you then go to outsiders.
Yeah,
my grandparents used to say, you don't air your dirty laundry outside, but go ahead.
I guess that would the way I might reframe it. Again, I know it's hard sometimes to differentiate color from.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't, irrespective of color.
Yeah.
He didn't engage the people that gave him the critique.
That's a big piece.
I would agree with that.
Let's just say everybody. Let's just say Sean Hannity is Black and Chris Cuomo is Black. He went there knowing that they were not going to disagree with him.
Absolutely.
And they were going to support and reaffirm what he had done.
Absolutely.
To me, the courageous thing to do, and take race out of this, is to have an active engagement with the people who fundamentally disagree with what you're doing or your position. That's the courageous thing to do.
And if there were not a need for the NAJB, the National Association for Black BJ, excuse me, I'd agree with you 1,000%. I think that in any instance, I think people understand it when you do what you just said.
Yeah.
If we take race out of this, if I gave you a critique, this is how I feel about what it is that you've been doing.
Right.
I'm speaking directly to you. Then I think people would say, no, I think then you respond directly to those individuals,
Right.
because that's what happens. But I think the thing is this, understanding the disadvantages that Black folks face in media spaces, period. Stephen A. has had the opportunity to do some really cool things. And I applaud him for being able to build the platform that he does, taking his show to being one of the top rated shows, creating a podcast that also is doing extremely well. However, it often happens that sometimes we kind of get a little, maybe the air is kind of thin up there. We kind of lose focus in sight of how we got, or where we are from how we got to where we were. And even his conversations with some of the top athletes that are out there, his take on LeBron James.
Do you think do you think that in the Black community, you're more easily ostracized if you have a differing point of view than in other communities? It seems like anyone, and this is just an anecdotal observation, that any famous Black person that doesn't toe kind of the groupthink line, is way super heavily ostracized.
Not at all.
Okay.
And I'll say this because I'll tell you, in many Black spaces, Senator Tim Scott, had a lot
in South Carolina.
Yeah. Had a lot of respect of many Democrats, liberals, left wing, whatever you were,
right?
Because he was a man that appeared very principled in how he thought. We're not a monolith, right? And we say that all the time. So you can have different opinions and that type of thing, but it's how you make kowtow. A couple years ago, we saw him sell his soul. It was painstaking.
It was just super painful to watch.
And you can say that, right? So as a Black man, and I always consider myself a Black man, I've never been to Africa in terms of being born or raised. I'm not an African American. I'm a Black man. I'm an American, whatever you want to say. But seeing that take place and see him kowtow, and then to see the result.
Oh yeah,
that he got nothing for it.
Nothing.
He and Byron
died. His career.
So when we see those kind of things, I don't think that it's a bad thing. And Black folks are saying, "Oh, you got to think." There's not this herd mentality that everyone has to think the same. But there is because there was a great level of respect that I think he had and retained across the board. But it's when you begin to operate in a way that you feel that you have to kowtow to certain methodologies, and you would submit yourself or subject yourself to what I would consider some very racist principles and ideologies, and you stand up and you do the bidding for those types of conversations, then it becomes problematic.
I don't know that he was doing their bidding. I would argue they were doing his bidding.
No, he was definitely doing bidding for Donald Trump. And speaking, he was the Black man speaking for Donald Trump. And so in terms of my opinion. So when you say they were doing his bidding, what do you mean?
They were giving him the platform by which for him to defend himself, basically, and justify his words.
Oh, you're talking about Stephen A. Smith now.
Yes.
Okay, I thought we were still talking about.
No, I'm sorry, Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, no.
As far as I was concerned, they were doing his bidding. They were his pawn.
Absolutely, but this is the thing. I think that they were doing his bidding, but there's a reason. So one would question.
Well, sure.
Why would?
It's great talking points for them.
Why would? But you're talking, especially with Sean Hannity.
Yeah.
You're talking to someone that also many African Americans, Black Americans have felt that he has been racist in some of his conversation. But you go to his show and he is the one that is affirming, Stephen, you're a good one.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, there's been this conversation, of good Black people, quote unquote, and the bad Black people. And oftentimes I've asked the question, who makes that distinction? And in this particular situation with him doing what he does, it looks as though the critique coming from folks who look like you is not valid. However, you can go over here to white men who look nothing like you. What they say is affirming and is validation.
Right. That doesn't make it wrong.
And no, it doesn't. I can't say that he's wrong.
Right.
But I think that you missed the entire understanding of why you received the award in the first place.
I mean, yeah.
And so it's one of those things when we talk about narratives, and for me, this happening is a narrative, right? Some people say what you just said, is it possible? And you didn't create a narrative, but you asked a question. But I think that it is a narrative that is a subcontext in this kind of conversation. If you're a Black person and you don't agree with what Black America feels, mainstream Black America, then you're going to be seen as a sellout.
Right.
Would agree that that's a narrative that exists?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. And so I think that this type of operating in public spaces, it pushes home or drives home that kind of conversation. Like Black people gonna be angry about everything. Now they're mad at their own Black man because he's Black and he wasn't Black enough for them, and so now he's mad. But the white people understand, and so they're they sympathize with them because Stephen, you're a good Black guy, and those Black people are just mad because you're not radical and you're not left leaning and you're not progressive.
Well, I think you're the good guy because you agree with me.
But that's what it in essence turns out.
I mean, that's what it is.
Absolutely,
and it's back to everyone's confirming their bias. They want to talk to people that believe in them, and they have to be right. And if you disagree with me, you have to be wrong.
How often have you been in spaces where you've seen situation? Because what's the difference? Let's look at this. Do you guys remember a while ago? I'm dating myself, and he's completely not going to understand. We'll use some Byron Donald. You know Byron Donald from.
Oh wow, Florida. That's a blast from the past.
Well,
I vaguely remember Byron. Yes.
Well, I was going to say someone. I was going to say Brian Gumble, but then Jonathan was like Brian. Who?
Brian, I know him better. So, but yeah,
you should have looked. You should have saw the look that Jonathan.
What's the comedian that does now?
Byron Allen.
No, there's the guy who did a great skit with Dave Chappelle. He does a game show now.
Steve Harvey?
No, keep going.
Drewski?
No, I'll keep going.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. But anyways, have you ever seen those conversations, those types of things play out where there is a real concern that Black folks, I mean, the whole conversation that we're having, that Black people are people that are problematic and are going to have an issue with everything. Have you heard that said before?
With everything?
I mean, Black people just are not happy. And it's actually something that I hear.
Cliche of the angry Black woman. Yeah, for sure.
What is the cliche of the angry Black woman? Share it, Mark.
A Black woman who's upset about everything.
She's just the angry Black woman.
Yeah.
And so because of that is not just a thought, but it is a narrative that's being painted. Many Black women have quashed their responses, have had to really consider how they respond.
I think you should always consider how you respond, irrespective of the environment.
And I think that
I consider how I respond depending on who I'm with and the environment I'm in. I mean, I think that's something that I
think that business etiquette would call for that.
Yeah.
But I think that in so many places and many spaces, because the narrative has been set, that there has been, and I talk to Black women who have this conversation. If I'm passionate about what I feel, then I'm a problem and I'm the angry Black woman. If I look at you weird, if I give a facial expression, I'm the angry Black woman. And those narratives don't always hold true in terms of how they cross over to when white women are passionate. When white women cry, there's a response that Black folks feel, hey, when white women cry, you better be in, because there's going to be a response. And there's a whole narrative or conversation about Black women's pain. So when we talk about this, and that this with Stephen A. Smith is also tone deaf to the conversation that many Blacks have, and I'll say in the village, in black circles, about how Black women's pain is often unseen or unheard or really undealt with.
Right.
And we've had that conversation here to some degree. We have hundreds of thousands of Black women lose their job. No one's having a major fit. Why is this? And I think that when you get in your feelings, and I think it's his feelings and his emotions, and I think that when we respond with our emotions and our feelings, we always,
you don't think straight usually,
and we end up really making what we thought we were speaking against or taking a stand. We kind of affirm some of those things, And so in this particular situation, that's what it appeared happened to me. But I do want to continue. We're going to talk about Steve probably another time, because I know this is not going to be the end of it. He's had a lot of conversations about everything that is going on. I do want to talk of something. And this is kind of a turn. Mark, you've seen that LeBron has made a decision. Did you ever think that he would not be in a Lakers jersey? And I brought this up because Stephen A. was.
Well, I've not
had a
thought.
field day
I
on
don't
this.
really follow NBA anymore, and so I think everybody's. I don't think anyone. I never assume anyone's going to finish anywhere, in any professional sport, because most of them, a lot of them, stayed past their prime, and they ended up, going someplace else.
Yeah, and Jonathan, I know you're not a sports person,
and basketball least of all. Like. Yeah, no, I
but
have no idea.
The reason I brought that
because
up,
he's been in multiple teams.
Well,
why would you think he would end with the Lakers?
well, just because if
Yeah.
I'm going to end and I'm at the end of, I want to be at the biggest market that's possible. I want to really go out on a bang and do something great. And I think that what he allows himself to do is to really kind of pick up a fan base and create a fan base in a space. He didn't go to the smallest market in the world either.
Yeah.
But I think that he's going to a place where he could really build something. And I think they got great pieces there. But the criticism of LeBron was that you're out there trying to raise opportunities to go chase championships. And I think that just that along with award.
Isn't that what they're all doing?
Well, I mean, isn't the idea of being in the NBA to chase a championship?
That's the whole thing. They're all trying to create the super trio, and they're all about winning the championship.
Absolutely. But but my point about that is, coming off the tail end of that conversation, off the conversations about Jasmine Crockett and other African-American women, off the conversation that the whole conversation with Draymond Green just addressed him like, don't act like you're going to come out here and you're going to buck up at one of the players you've never played before.
Yeah.
And I think he's offended by the fact when players say, how can you be the greatest and talk about what's going on in sports? But that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah. But the point of that was, do we sometimes allow those narratives? How much power do we give to those type of narratives that take place? Now, and it goes back to one of the other things that I wanted to talk about.
I certainly think they allows you to form a bias.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, if there's a narrative like angry black woman, Polish people, not smart Polish people, whatever, there is that thought the first time you meet them potentially, and you have a potential preconceived notion like, okay, this is how they're going to be. They may not be like that. And hopefully you're open to, learn that they're not.
And so I think that was
the stereotypes.
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah.
And I think that in this particular situation, what the National Association for Black Journalists was saying is that it's already tough. It's hard out here for a pimp, but it's already tough. And to have someone who's at the top of his game, really trendsetting and doing this like other people could only wish, to have you continue to perpetuate those stereotypes that we continually have to overcome, it's disappointing. And I think that that's what the Thumb Down Award really represents. And I was listening to the president of the NABJ, and she was giving some feedback, and she was saying exactly that. Like, we're disappointed. It is the fact that we're disappointed that you would use this amazing platform that you've created, because Stephen A. is doing it, right? And you would allow that type of conversations to continue and further perpetuate narratives that Black women have to fight against already in so many platforms. And so that is it. We're going to end this conversation for today. I certainly want to thank you guys for this. Jonathan, what's the countdown?
I don't know.
To the wedding.
I don't know.
To the wedding.
40-something days.
40-something days.
Well, it's October 2nd, right?
Jonathan was talking about countdown to
air.
the show. 40-something days to the countdown for Jonathan's wedding. We want to thank you guys for continually tuning in to United Shades of Gray. God bless you all. Grace and peace.